When I was a child, I was allergic to everything. I was basically allergic to the planet, and had a lot of chronic ear infections, high fevers, and because of all of that, I had a significant hearing loss. When I was 2 years old, the doctors told my mom to just take me home and love me because I would never see the age of 3. So by the time that I was 5 years old, I had about a 75% hearing loss due to all the scar tissue and all the high fevers and everything. And I'm not really sure why they never did, put tubes in my ears or did any of the preventive measures. I'm not sure if it's because it was the Stone Age and they just hadn't been developed yet, or if it was because they didn't expect me to live and they thought, why put the poor thing through all of that? So I couldn't hear when people were talking to me. I really couldn't hear the world around me. And so I became very, very withdrawn. I tried really hard to just be invisible so that people wouldn't pay attention to me because I didn't want to have to ask them to repeat themselves. And, I could never tell for sure what the response was supposed to be when people talked to me. So I just tried to be invisible. But one night when I was about 5 years old, and we were at church because my family went to church pretty much anytime the doors were open. And so we were at church, and our pastor said, Jesus is here and he wants to heal you. And I heard that, which in itself is pretty amazing because I really honestly couldn't hear much of what was going on around me. But when he said, Jesus is here and he wants to heal you, I just leaped out of my chair and I skipped down to the front. And I didn't even think about all of those people who were watching me. And so I went up to the front, and he knelt down and he put some anointing oil on my forehead. And when he did that, I actually saw Jesus standing next to my pastor. But I was 5 years old, and so I didn't really think that that was unusual. He said, Jesus is here, and he wants to heal you. So when I saw Jesus standing there, I just thought, well, that's cool. Well, then Jesus stuck his finger in my ear. And when he did that, something that felt like electricity, like just shot through my whole body. And I felt tingly, and I just felt like this electrical jolt through my body. And again, I thought, well, that was cool. And I just skipped right back to my seat. Well, and I never told anybody, hey, I saw Jesus, because I really didn't think that it was unusual. And the next day, I was watching Gilligan's Island because I was 5, and I had the chair really, really close to the television so that I could hear it. And as I was sitting there, my ears were itching like crazy. And so I was scratching my ear, and this thing came out of my ear. And it was all squiggly and about the size of a pencil eraser. And so I took it in to show my mom, and she got pretty animated about it. She was pretty alarmed. And the next thing I remember, I'm sitting in the doctor's office on the examining room table, and he's got the little light, and he's shining the little light in my ear and saying, And then he went around to the other ear, and with those tweezers that are like, this long, he pulled a similar chunk of stuff out of the other ear. And again, like a little squiggly, hard mass of stuff about the size of a pencil eraser. And the doctor was talking to my mom, and I started to cry because I thought that they were shouting. I thought that they were angry. But really what it was is I could hear them talking. And then I heard birds chirping outside. And it's the first time I ever remember hearing birds sing. So at that point in time, my hearing was restored. And what that stuff was that came out of my ear was all of the scar tissue that had been wrapped around those teeny tiny little bones in my ear and had prevented them from vibrating together so I couldn't hear. And at that point in time, it was surgically not possible for doctors to remove that scar tissue. But it was no problem for Jesus. So over the next couple of years, the rest of my health improved. And by the time I was 7 years old, I was pretty much like a normal, healthy kid and was able to do normal kid things. And to this day, my hearing is still within the normal range. And so the reason that I'm sharing this story is just to let you know that the same Jesus that healed me when I was 5 years old heals today. He's the same yesterday and today and forever. And if he would heal me as a 5-year-old little girl, he'll definitely heal you too.